When I work, she plays me a bye. But sometimes she wanders off and I have to leave everything to look.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Going to get into a conversation this morning on a number of things. And when we're talking about a reset to the nation, if it's necessary that one be had, that we see a lot of conversations coming out. And today we're asking ourselves about whether those messages that are coming from the pulpit will sway the young population in one way or another. Beyond the pulpit, can pulpit-led dialogue guarantee youth engagement? Bishop John C.W. is here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
I almost thought we divorced with Spice FM.
I didn't understand. we looked there, but then it would appear as though you were engaged. Engaged quite, in the sense being made busy.
I've been doing exams, by the way. So my last paper is actually today at 8:30. Can you imagine?
No way.
Yes, way. But who turns down a Spice FM offer?
There you go.
Especially because of the fact that you are doing a great job in making sure that the right information reaches our people.
Asante.
So that's why I'm here.
Asante.
And all the best in your paper too.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I guess through this conversation, some of the things that you've been up to will also come through as we talk about this. So Karibu, and thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis this week has taken us to Mali. We'd love to get your interpretation of today's proverb.
Good Lord.
Yes. Yes, the Lord is good. But the proverb says, friends are like shoes. You may have many, but you only walk with the ones that feel comfortable.
Well, I think from that, my own analogy simply means that the size of the shoe, you can have as many shoes being sold on the shelf, but it's only the ones that fit you that will be able to be relevant with you. So make sure that you're not out of that fit of what you are able to manage. So just have people that can be able to fit you, people that you can be able to relate with. Especially in our generation right now, you have someone, motivational speakers, trying to tell you, no, do ABCD, but what really matters is the current place you are in. Are you able to manage where you are as you are growing to where you need to be?
Yeah, well said.
Indeed. Do you think Kenya needs a reset?
I don't think I need to think. I think it's just to see. Just by, even without applying your brain, if you just apply your eyesight by looking at what you just see, Kenya needs a total overhaul, total reset.
What are the things that you see that would then make you come to that conclusion?
How politics is being played, how people are dividing. Apparently now it matters where you are born, it matters where you are coming from, it matters your religion, it matters how much money you are making, it matters your circle. So you can clearly see that, especially right now, the motive is totally different, where people are gearing. I mean, you have seen a whole CS trying to make claims that the mountain should divide, this place should divide, that place should divide. And I was actually thinking the other day, if these same people are in opposition, let's assume, would this be the conversation? If those same people are in opposition, would this be a conversation? Because you remember when the government was in opposition, automatically picketing was okay. But when the government is in power, picketing is wrong, right? So I just think the whole situation, looking at the way the selfishness of politicians trying to divide a group of young people, and now we are dealing with the biggest number of young people who are Gen Zs, not having the experience to know how this thing began and what it does, the kind of damages it brings to a nation. So they are very naive and ignorant. So when you see a bunch of elderly people trying to put a perspective in the minds of young people that are not yet able to maturely make specific decisions maturely, then you can clearly see that it's a selfish reason. So totally uncalled for.
Well, Bishop, uncalled for, indeed. However, this is an outcome that we, over time, have created as a country.
Right.
We have continuously defined how we want to run our politics. And now you realize, perhaps, albeit too late, that we have left that responsibility of those very influential decisions on who runs our country to some very selfish people, as you rightly put it. But if we need a reset, maybe we need to begin from that point of reckoning and agreeing that, yes, somewhere along the way, we lost course. For a long time, as a man of faith, I think you'd agree with me, there was a relationship between the church and the state.
Yeah.
And each has had their own position in society. In the last general election, the church, or the platform, the podium, was used as a major campaign platform, to the extent that I've had some men of cloth, if I may call them so, saying that they're going to repeal the prayers they prayed for the president to win because they feel they misled. Those are their own individual opinions. But largely, I'm looking at our social instruments. The church is one, education system and many others exist. We have politicized them highly, so much so that now the public is crying, but the same people are the ones, when there's a crisis, you will see like now the president will summon the clergy. There will be a prayer day. But that does not translate to service delivery. That does not change the country that we want to see. So how do we start this reset? How do we start assuming our usual position, whether it is the church, whether it's at school, whether it is the business people, whether it is politicians, everybody to take charge of where they belong for us to actualize this resetting?
Well, I don't want you to assume, because I'm a pastor, we should only limit this conversation to the pulpit.
Right.
I have gone to school like everyone else, gone to campus like most of the people, and I did not study theology only. I studied leadership and governance.
Right.
And I knew that when you hear the word pastor, the first thing that comes to your mind is, let's pray. I remember the time that in 2022, if you ask an average pastor, what's the meaning of the word GDP? Not what's the G for? What's the D for? And what's P for? I guarantee you like 70-80% of them would not be able to tell you the meaning. Leave alone what 34% of Kenya finances of Kenya come from, such kind of things. And so because of that, we tend to experience a certain delay, either in expression of good governance as far as the pulpit is concerned. For example, take the case study of the unfortunate situation that happened a while back. Was it Tutumishi Girls, the school that burned?
Yes.
You can imagine, after the school has burned, the first thing someone is telling you, let's pray. But in my view, I'm thinking, we have a brain. A Christian has a brain just like a businessman, an engineer, and everyone. What would have been the best option? Fine, prayer, we have prayed. But if we would have installed, just like here, I'm assuming in fire would begin here, you already have the fire smoke detectors. So when you put a smoke detector, we would not need to pray such prayers for the bereaved families.
Right.
You get? So prayer then becomes a fallback plan out of courtesy of ignorance, not necessarily to express wisdom. So in that view, if you keep looking at, historically speaking, the kind of things that have happened, and by the way, there is in no way we are apologizing in the fact that I'm a pastor and I'm interested in leadership of this nation. In fact, the church should spearhead good governance. All through the scriptures, you have seen prophets fighting for good governance. Anytime someone would rise and try to destroy it, like Haman in the Bible, trying to destroy the Israelites, Esther was the person negotiating, and it was an issue of policy. The fact that she prayed for they prayed and fasted for 3 days, she had an opportunity to go and meet the king and to discuss a policy that was set in terms of wanting to kill the children of Israel. So it was a policy issue. So after prayer, she had to go sit down with the policymaker, discuss the problem on ground, and see how she can avert the problem. It has happened in the days of Moses. It has happened. Political platforms have been there. The problem with this notion of politics is how it has been run previously, as I answer your question.
Right.
The word politics comes from a very simple word, which is the word politikos. The act of deciding a matter on behalf of people. That's the meaning of the word politics. It is not a dirty game. It has been made dirty. But just like your cloth, if your cloth is dirty today, you don't throw it in the dustbin. You take soap and you clean it. So the church should have the soap to be able to clean the kind of leadership that is happening. Lastly, on that point you have said, in reflection of the situation and where should we begin and all those kind of things, we need to reflect back. I personally run a school. I have my own school, Zilomon Group of Schools. And one of the subjects that we teach them, if I bring you a 4-year-old child here, I think it's actually one of the videos is on my platform, he will tell you the Constitution of Kenya, Article 1 to Article 10. A 5-year-old kid. So we are beginning to reshape it. Why? Because part of the thing sometimes, remember, when the children of Israel could not hearken to the word of God, what did God do? He allowed that whole generation to die. So sometimes, in my view, politically speaking, there is a certain generation of elderly people that they have rejected to free the nation. You should just allow these people to die. When I mean die, I don't mean necessarily physical death, to totally leave the scene, so that a new set of breed can be able to come in that thinks different, talks different, walks different, and reasons different towards making of a generation.
Are we ready for that as we head to the ballot in a year's time?
We are never ready. We are made to be ready. You can never really claim that the proof of being ready is the willingness of the people. Do you remember Michuki? People are not ready for street belts,
yes.
But because a law was enforced, I mean, the nation had to look in that line. I mean, when you talk about yellow buses, people are not ready for yellow buses. So many people complain. But today, if you think about it, if you see a bus misbehaving on the road, it's easier for you to identify that this is a school bus. So I just think that some things is not just whether people are willing or not, is what are the morals that can be implanted at this particular time that can push people to begin to think and reason in that particular manner.
Bishop, where we find ourselves today as a country is pretty much the same script that was used in 2022 being applied just differently. Because many have said the government that we have today is there predominantly because the clergy was used as a campaign material. And we see the same being applied today, where you see members of the clergy being invited in state house. That notwithstanding, you equally have to read how the members of the clergy have lived through this entire period and ask the question, have we not learned the lessons on which side we ought to be, or rather how we shape the political discourse? Because when you look at attacks happening in churches, you look at what happened in All Saints Cathedral, what happened in Nyeri the other day, one asks the question, how then does the clergy organize themselves to be agenda setters as political decisions are being made?
Again, and thank you very much for that question. I think that the clergy must be nationally informed. I started about GDP and such kind of things. Pastor, remember, your people are taxpayers. As much as they are citizens of heaven, they are citizens of Kenya. So bad governance will eventually affect the church. The last time I was here, I spoke about Corona. Corona was a global pandemic, right? As anointed as we were, we ended up sitting, was it 1 meter? The sitting arrangement?
Social distancing.
Exactly. That's the same thing with bad governance. When we have bad governance, it will affect every industry, including the religious sector. Apparently, I don't like the way we as pastors tend to reason as far as the need of the nation is concerned. We always look at it from a point of, and again, I understand that we have different perspectives, but at least we should all look at where Kenya is standing right now and not focus on who you love, but where Kenya ought to be. 60 years plus of independence. So in that particular point of view, sometimes I look at the way the gospel was handed down to us was really weakened. Because if you really look at scriptures, for example, Proverbs says that people rejoice when the righteous are in authority and people mourn when the wicked rule. It's a scripture in the Bible. Then you hear a Christian telling you should not be involved in politics. Yet it's a political statement. Yet all through the Bible, we have political leaders, Joseph, Moses, people that literally changed the direction of a whole generation.
Esther,
think about all those kind of people. And all this, throughout all these platforms, Elijah was used to see how he can be able to negotiate to make sure that good governance is experienced. I think that at the end of the day, we offer prayer as the only solution, yet the Bible is not a book about prayer. The Bible is a book about a king not a religious person. And this is why you can find God using a Muslim, using a Hindu, because we all, when it comes to a king, his will and his motive is the reason. So if a Christian is not on ground, it doesn't mean the will of God will not come through. God's will come through despite who's not ready about it. So the way we prepare the church for the dealing of the nation, that's where what is wrong comes in. Because let me ask you a question.
Right.
Have you ever seen a pastor being given an opportunity to discuss the GDP of the nation?
Never.
But they will do all their shenanigans, and then the only thing we need to do is to pray for our leaders. As if they prayed to do what they are doing. They stole to do what they are doing. They did something. So we need to raise a group of young believers, or rather pastors that have an economic point of view, to understand. This is why I went to school, to study leadership and governance, not theology only. I wanted to understand what is governance, what is leadership, what roles do these things play into the economy of the nation. Can you imagine right now? I have a track. Yesterday I had a live at my platform, and I have this roadshow track. And then I just put it online, and I said, if I give you this, what would you use it for? 90% of them were telling me crusade. Why? Because that's the way it has been phrased in our minds, that the much we can do is to stand somewhere and talk. We have not taught our people, you can treat people and show God. You can do economics and show God. The platform of manifesting the kingdom of God is that place on Sunday that is lifted. So we have a bunch of people that are growing thinking that the church's only purpose is to pray. And this is why you notice when a pastor is called to State House, after they have discussed economic issues, then when it's time to pray for food, that's when they will say, we have bishop here, we have bishop here, but we have apostle here, please pray for our food.
But they are proud to do that, leadership. Bishop. But they are proud to, that's how they position
that's the way, it's not them, it's we. That's how we have positioned the church. But I'm telling you, the narrative is changing.
It's changing.
We have a group of young people that are radicalists, economic radicalists, people that understand that apart from just praying, we will position our people and transform our nation.
Now, Bishop, you as a student of governance and leadership, good governance, we as the citizens cannot just be the consumers. We must be the co-creators of that good governance. Today, we are entering into the season of campaign. Today is what date? Date 7. So in a record 52 weeks and 3 days, we go to the ballot. Those are 368 days. From this coming Sunday, the pulpit again will be used, in my opinion, as an extortion platform. Because you dare declare that you're vying for a position. Everybody in your local area, and mostly now the church, they'll be inviting you for events, for fundraisers, things they would not have done otherwise if you were not vying. So we find ourselves commercializing now this event, and we lose on the agenda setting. Right. Because in my opinion, the church is one of the organs or institutions that understands our societal issues. Because you deal with a myriad of people, you're able to understand the challenges the society is facing today. Can we begin to differentiate between the actual needs of the society and the individualistic needs of the institutions like the church, so that we build in the co-creation of good governance, so that we build and give birth to a nation that we all want? At what point do we say, now we must be the co-creators? This is not about you who wants a position. This is not about you whom we don't want to vote for. This voting, the electoral cycle, the electoral process, is about we, the people. And we can only create a good nation if we get involved in the process. We put in good, we get good out. The same we say garbage in, garbage out. Can we begin that process of beginning to analyze and say, you know what? Yes, matters of faith aside, but here on earth, citizens of the world, we must make decisions that are pertinent to our day-to-day living. Right? Can we do that?
The church should spearhead. The other day we had the Tukokadi campaign, right?
Right, yes.
How many churches did you see telling their people, go and register as a voter? You don't even need to tell people who to vote for.
No.
But it is your right to participate. Church, pastors, elders of the church. I'm just a little boy. I've served God for 15, 16 years on the pulpit. I have an understanding of what is pulpit ministry. Please, it is not demonic to vote. You don't have a devil called voting. It is your right as a believer, as far as you are going to heaven. If Christianity was only about heaven, the day you got born again, you should have been raptured. Christianity is about heaven on earth. Our Father who art in heaven. God is the one that's there. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Location. Earth. Heaven has no problem. So stop dying and start living.
Please repeat that. Stop that.
Heaven has no problem. So stop dying and start living. Thy will be done. Location on earth. Not as it will be, as it is. It's already it. So God is looking for people that can bring the kind of leadership that is in heaven here on earth. What does it entail? It entails medicines, drugs at the hospitals. It entails good governance. It entails road networks. It entails such kind of things. Those are the kind of things the church needs to begin to look at. The church must begin to spearhead their people. Do you know 74% of Kenya is approximately Christian? If 74% of Kenya was Islam, you would see it. You would see it in every sector. So being that 74% of Kenya is Christian, we shouldn't just be on crusades and rallies. We should also be on government platforms and seeing how do we do ABCD. For example, if this person is born again and you put, this water, if I'm thirsty and water is here, and I drink this water and my thirst is still there, then the water did not fulfill its duty. So if you claim you are a Christian and we have 74% of Christian, then we should at least have 74% of Kenya experiencing the kingdom of God on earth. But how can we be many, yet the way the culture of the system is, we are few? It simply means that we are the people that are spearheading it. We are the people in government that are doing the wrong deeds. We are the people taking corruption. We are the people destroying our nation. We are the people doing all those kind of things. And if you do not understand that faith is about good leadership, Christ is a leader. The first opposition leader is not Honorable late Raila Amolo Odinga. It is Lucifer. The first coup happened in heaven. There was war in heaven. Michael fought. So opposition has always been there from aeons. But how you deal with these issues is what really matters. I keep saying, if leadership doesn't matter, the day Satan fell, why didn't Jesus just say, okay, you want the kingdom, okay, take it.
You can have it.
Let me just go and build another one. Why fight for that particular issue? So if the church will not be the people spearheading the kind of fight that can change a generation, but we are seeing here, do you know how many deals have been given to keep quiet?
Yourself.
You know me, I don't just talk funny. I talk with proof. Do you know how many coalitions, people that are calling, oh, come and join us here? But when I look at it, I'm like, wait, how will it help our people? Especially now you have seen and this is what the last time I was here I was talking about. Now the young people are beginning to be taken for a ride again. You can clearly see the motive is not Kenya. The motive is leaders from Western, leaders from Mount Central, leaders from Northeastern. It's a group of people that have taken Kenya hostage. They make Kenya their title. The title deed of Kenya is in their platform. And there are not many, like 20, 15, 30 people. These people again are doing the same thing. And you can clearly see our young leaders are again being taken back to tribal kingpins. Someone that you can clearly see has a future, can be able to, if given an opportunity and groomed the right way, what they will do, they will reduce you. Kama si Waluya, hatutaki. Kama si Wakikuyu, hatutaki. That was not the conversation in 2024.
How do you remix that, though, Bishop? Because I want to tie that into, and it's interesting because we can peg things to current conversations. Like you talk about young people, we know. We've been given the numbers, 70% of the population right now, and that's why it's going to continue. They're going to be in this young age for a while. But look at what's happening. The same young people who need to make a decision about what's going to happen in the next cycle of an election. The same young people, 294,000 of them will be going to university next month. We don't know if they're actually going to get the funds that they need to be able to do this. This is just in the public sector. And these are the new entrants. We don't know about the ones who were there last year, the ones who came in the year before, and the year before that. We do not know. So what does that mean? That for a sector, you are engaged in a season of uncertainty, and we would imagine that because of that, and this is just one example, there are many, many, many that we could give, and because of that, you would imagine that it would then form the basis of a decision that you make or how you are engaged. that there are people with ideas, and there are people with a work ethic who would want to put themselves in particular positions. So much so that when now somebody who's under the age of 30 says, I want to be senator of Nakuru, for example, we almost laugh and we say, you can't because you don't have the experience. Education is a problem. Look right here. 294,000 students will be first year students in the university at the end of this month. How they're going to do that, we do not know. Will they come out with a 4.2 million shilling debt at the end of it? Probably, or more. So when you look at the reality of things, and then here at the same time we're saying, make a choice, be involved, be engaged. How do we bring the two together? Because I hear so much dissonance at the moment. How do we say that you have a bedrock of a foundation that's solid, which unfortunately is not, and then to say engage at this level? Don't think about the Western, Central, Eastern. Think about the country. How do we do that?
Let me begin by first saying this. There is something I've noticed about our leadership, not just in Kenya but Africa. So what they do, they isolate major positions and then they leave specific positions for the biggest number of people in the nation to think about occupying. For example, it's easier to put someone in the Ministry of Education or Finance that is an elder, even though they steal. But when it comes to anything to deal with young people, give them something at their level. So you see that they will reduce you to Ministry of Sports. You get what I'm saying? They have a way, they have weaponized leadership in such a way. Let's involve them, not because we want to, but let's give the dog as a type of a bone, and then let's keep the meat. So they remove the meat from all the bones, and then now they give the bones to show the young people that we are minding about you. For example, if you look at the coalition that they are beginning to form, how many young people do you see there? Apart from like the one, was it Standard? I saw that there were several of them. How many people? The only youngest person there was Honorable Sifuna. I think he's 44 or 45, somewhere around there. That's the youngest person there. The question I would like to ask you, how comes when it comes to specific positions, you claim that you want experience, which is not wrong, but then the people that are experienced tend to take the nation in a worse direction. I was expecting people like Honorable Ruto, the president of Kenya, and such kind of people, being that they were there. You remember the Y2K and all those kind of things. They have served different governments. They have different kind of experiences. They should have had a better opportunity to, they have been in opposition, they have been in government, all those kind of positions. You have a better position to be able to negotiate for the country. But the way I've seen this situation is reduce them to something. Reduce them to something. Reduce them to music. Reduce them to acting. Are those things, reduce them to sports. But when it comes to the things that actually bring money to sports, bring money to acting, bring money to music, give that to us. So it's simply a way of maturely controlling you. It's an economic control where they keep you in this puppet place and say, okay, for example, let me ask you, why do you have youth parliament? Why does it have to be separated from parliament?
So you can go over there and discuss it over there.
Yeah, so for you, those are, you are kids, you are youth. You see the way they... So those kind of things, it's a way to show young people we care. So give them a little bone. We care, but in literal sense, so that you don't make a lot of noise, enter into this youth parliament, youth leadership. Even when it comes to positions of,
nominations.
Nominations and party positions. You will see there's something called youth leaders.
Youth league.
Youth something. So what you are doing there is immature, but we just want, because we want your numbers, we're going to have your face so that we can eventually keep you around. Those are the kind of things that are taking our nation through a mess. We must incorporate the people that represents the biggest majority on the biggest platforms. What is the Minister of IT have to do with a person over 50, 60 years? Let's just be honest. IT, which is a department that is maturing through AI and such kind of things, you expect to put someone that is more advanced with technologies and things like that. But because it's not the issue, they will put something somewhere and then they will claim, take youth department. Why does it have to be called youth? Why can't a 30-year-old be an assistant minister? Why can't a 40-year-old be an executive somewhere, because it's a way of making sure that we keep their numbers with us, but we don't, you are just kids, just stay there.
There to be seen.
Which then, Bishop, begs for a question, because, you are painting a very grim picture that this has been about a cabal, a club, personalities. Because even today, the conversation you're hearing is that we, over here, are going to have a conversation in the boardroom, then we are going to tell you the one person that you should vote for as a president. That's a conversation we're being treated to.
It is.
So the question I am asking myself, because I'm deeply perturbed by that approach, I don't agree to it personally. We are already discussing personalities on who should be the next president of Kenya. In my opinion, we are getting it wrong from the word go. We should be discussing about what you are saying, the issues that we want addressed.
Yep.
You're going for an exam. The lecturers are not waiting for the person who is going to be number one. Their first agenda was to set the exam. This is what we're going to try you on. As a country, in my opinion, I think we should be talking about these are the issues we want addressed. This is what we want. This is the character of the kind of a person we want. Described in our Constitution, Chapter 6 talks about that. Our financial management, Chapter 12 of the Constitution talks about that. We should be defining the Kenya that we want. And then we say, here we have Pastor Bishop, here we have Mr. Who, here you have Mrs. So-and-so. They want to be a president. Who matches these criteria?
Exactly.
Are we setting that criteria in our mind? Even if we are just the minor, the small group, at least a few of us who can start this conversation and start saying, don't talk about personalities yet. Those who want to hold boardroom and do the legacy politician artwork, let them do that. But for the growth and prosperity of the nation, we set the agenda, we set the criteria. Do we have that going anywhere?
We have a bunch of people that are professionals in reminding Kenyans where they were born when it needs to serve them. And I will need to categorically say this because I know Spice does not have a problem with truth.
Right.
Let me say this with capital letters. If my words can be capitalized, I don't know if the people at the
let's see what Magic Marion
director
can do.
put some base on the sound in it. Let me say this: we will not be given leaders.
Right.
Don't cheat yourself. You're the kingpin of the mountain. You're the kingpin of Western. You're the kingpin of Eastern. We will not be given leader. This is not the Moi era. This is not the Kibaki era. This is not even the Uhuru era. And this is definitely not the Ruto era. This is the era of Kenyans that want good for Kenya. And what my thought will be is very simple. As you've said, what is the problem ailing Kenya? This bad, number one, corruption. Number two, ABCD. Okay, who can deal with these problems? It's not who is the it's time ya Wakamba, it's time for Kikuyus, it's time for Luyas. We don't care the tribe you're coming from. You might even be tribeless, you might be an angel sent from heaven. We don't care about that. Can you deliver on these problems that we are dealing with? And the minute Kenya begins to have such kind of discussions, because I knew, I was waiting for this time bomb. I knew that at some point we are going to be reduced back to where we are coming from. You are hearing people saying, if it's not Mr. Gashagwa, we are not, it's no one. And others are saying, if it's not Sifuna, we are no one. Others are saying, if it's not Kalonzo, we are no one. Again, you are dividing the politics based on ethnicity and where you are coming from. You are not talking about politics from a point of where is Kenya going. Kenya is going through this particular season. Do you know, 60 years plus of independence, we should not be talking about people paying help. 60 years plus of independence, it shouldn't be a story for a president to build an auditorium, a stadium, a president, a sitting president. That one of the things that is making me to fight for a manifesto is a stadium.
That's not even the saddest story, Bishop.
You get?
I'm sorry to tell you this, but this week you've had a woman give birth by the roadside in Kenya, 60 years after independence.
You can imagine.
Now, you mentioned GDP. I'm sure you'll agree with me that the cost of living we should be enjoying, the kind of lifestyle, should be equivalent to the France because our tax regime is the same. So I want you to walk with me that Kenyans, we pay taxes. We give 60-something percentage of our money to government to facilitate service provision. We do not have those service provision actualized. We do not enjoy value for money because you should, as you say, you should not be talking about help. Education should be free, quality and accessible for all, from primary to tertiary. We should not be talking about potholes, we should be talking about sewage and clean water. 60 years after independence, given the kind of revenue, tax revenue we are able to generate, we should not be having that conversation today. We should be talking of a different new Kenya. But we somehow forget that when it comes to voting this season, and we start now balkanizing ourselves from regions and where we come from. But in 2023, we said no to a finance bill. In 2024, we rejected another one. In 2025, we remembered those who lost in that economic liberation movement that has turned out to be a revolution. When we have an opportunity to clearly make a distinction between exactly what we want and what we don't want, our eyes are blurred. I don't want to say evil spirit because if they were, maybe we would have prayed for them and have a new birth. But can we begin to merge the reality of our tax regime and the quality of life we are enjoying and see how we con ourselves and hold that the truth is that the people who are in office, the people who are responsible of managing this service provision are the ones who are failing us. Are we woke to that reality?
Can I tell you why? Let me give an example of China. I've heard you talk about France.
Right.
The GDP of France is equivalent to the GDP of Africa. Yeah. So all African countries, one nation called France can run Africa.
Yeah.
So then we should just lease Africa to France. It's not about the quantity of people. It's about the quality of mindsets. Africa suffers from a backwardness mindset. And the reason I'm saying that is because of this. I was studying China. You know how China became China? I hope you know China in 2001 is when China came into the World Trade Organization,
Yes.
fully registered in 2001. So China was nowhere. They set policies. The reason why China dealt with corruption, of course, no nation can deal with corruption 100%, but China dealt with approximately 90% of its corruption. Can I tell you how they did it? They only imposed one law, one policy, the death sentence.
You steal, you die.
But in Kenya, if you steal and they take you to court, the court will ask you for a bond of 20 million, and that 20 million will come from the money you have stolen. So people do not have a fear of, if you break a law, there is no repercussion.
There's no deterrent.
Exactly.
At all.
Totally separate from most of these first world countries. It is totally outstated. If you do this, this is the situation. Now you clearly hear a pastor say, but the Bible says thou shalt not kill. You can imagine the mind of a minister thinking like that. They don't even know the difference between murder when the Bible talks about what does it mean, murder or kill. Let me ask you a question. If right now I come here and I have a gun and I decide to want to shoot all of you, and in self-defense, you pin me down and have you killed? Have you murdered or have you killed?
You killed.
Thank you. You did not?
Murder.
So murder is a motivated perspective that has self in mind. But that person you come and say he was protecting himself. So the whole notion will turn even in court, which was in self-defense. You get what I'm saying? Now, Africa has this kind of problem. We do not know how to defend ourselves, so we defend ourselves in the most useless ways, which is tribal defense. We go back to a tribal cocoon. We don't have economic defense. We don't have the intelligence to defend ourselves economically. We don't have the intelligence to defend ourselves financially. We don't understand these structures. China just introduced one law to defend China. Kenya must understand that if we want Kenya to go forward, there are several things we must add to our law in bid of defending Kenya. And if we don't do that, this conversation will be the same. Young people will come back to the same pit hole. We'll have this conversation in 2032. Jesus will come us having this conversation. Because we do not understand how to defend our nation economically, financially. In Singapore, there is a certain threshold you cannot borrow. I think Kenya right now is operating beyond 13 trillion.
Yes.
The borrowing,
yes.
the borrowing.
Yes.
Do you know what 13 trillion, if you borrow 13 trillion, do you know it shouldn't be something you're struggling to see?
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, we should be walking around seeing 13 trillion, man.
Yeah.
13 trillion.
The heaven on earth you're talking about.
13 trillion, I should be just chilling. In fact, Spice should be coming to my house to do a documentary. I said, no, I'm tired. Come and meet me. 13 trillion, we should all be billionaires and such kind. But the problem is, the minute you begin to, especially the concept that is happening in Kenya now, but Uhuru also, but Kibaki also,
Yeah.
we can't think going forward. Our thought always has to be narrowed down to but Ruto pia nani aliiba, Ruto nani Kibaki aliiba, yet si aliiba. Yet we are now thinking we want to do something from here going forward, not from here going backwards. So where is our forward?
Bishop, when you talk about self-defense, what China did is just self-defense for the population, for the funds that they give.
Right.
But I want us to come to Kenya and just look at the reality of things where you become the most formidable candidate, especially within your community, to be voted into office. Because when a corrupt person in Kenya is being investigated, has been arrested, is going through the process, mtu wetu is being attacked. Still goes back to wananchi. But that notwithstanding, there are no safeguards, one would say, that have been put in place to ensure that justice is served and that deterrence is put in place to avoid repetition of the same. Now, are wananchi, leave alone the political class, where they sit, cognizant with the fact that if someone steals from SHA, 12 billion is stolen from SHA, that is akin to murder. Why? Because there is a mother somewhere who went to deliver, did not get the services, and died while delivering. There is someone who went for cancer treatment. They did not get that service because money was stolen that would have offered them that. Do you think Kenyans have reconciled with what loss of money means to their quality of life and things that they ought to deserve?
No, and at the same time, of course I understand the narrative of in as much as we have bad politicians, the problem is Kenyans. You can't think about it that way. You can't isolate it. There is a scripture the Bible says, to him who much is given, much is. So the problem you are seeing down here, it is based on the people up here. If you want the people down here, I know many people think if you want to change up here, change down here. No. You can't change down if you have not changed up. That's why your head is on top. If you want to change the direction of your feet, you change the direction of your thought. So the first thing that comes when it comes to leadership is the head, minister of what? Member of parliament of what? Those are the people that have been given the responsibility. If they begin to show direction, for example, I don't need, in as much as I'm campaigning with her, I don't need to abuse her. If it begins to echo from the top, then the person that is coming from the bottom will be able to see, okay, that person did this and this is how they did it. So in as much as we can say that it's not just the leaders, it's the people, it is the leaders that influence the people. So if you want to change down here, you change the top. Just like, for example, I'm thinking right now, in as much as you say you are a member of parliament, you want to, you have ideas and you want to run and change whatever that you want to change, you can clearly see that if the leadership is against you, you are going to be impeached. Even if right now John C.W. runs for governor with my intention, you will be impeached. Because the issue is not down here, the issue is up there. So if you still have a bunch of people telling you, oh no, you can't come from nowhere and get to the top, where do you get that?
So what happens to Kenyans who believe that, as is constitutionally demanded, that you are involved in the decisions that happen? That if you see that the top, for example, is not functioning, and that you then want to be involved in your own governance, citizen-centered governance, and say, well, we see this, and if the person at the top is not doing what they ought to do, then there are things that you can do to ensure that this happens. Either you remove them by the ballot, like we'll see happening in 2027, or you continuously lobby, you continuously raise issues, as we see happens in progressive jurisdictions. What happens to the person? Are we just going to be led like like sheep?
Not really. We need to, first of all, if the problem has, you can clearly see that the problem is at the top. Our leaders are just a funny group of people. Then you come back to civic education. Remember, I've told you that part of the things it should be normal in all our classrooms that we should put the Constitution among the subjects children should study. Because, I mean, think about it. People graduate from campus, a whole doctor that doesn't know what the law says about their
health,
their
sector.
Their sector. An engineer graduates and he doesn't know what their law says about it. A pastor gets a theological degree and he doesn't know what the law says. I mean, if you have a nation like Kenya where a ministry is registered called Honey and Breast, Honey and Breast, for God's sake, and someone registered it and has members in this nation. So what does it tell you? If we see now the problem is here, we begin to deal with a new breed. Yeah, it's true, my sister. We have a ministry called Honey and Breast. And you do not want to imagine how they take out devils.
I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
So that's how sad it is. Yeah.
So could that explain why it's very possible that, this week, everybody's been going to State House, or some of us are waiting for an invitation.
Yeah.
But look, the first people to come to State House this week were this group of pastors, leaders from certain church.
Always.
It seems as though they set the stage, right, and open the floodgates, and everybody comes as a result of that. So it seems like the thinking is very far removed from what you're saying this morning.
And you see, again, you need to understand that some of these people, they have never been on such platforms. So some people are not going there to gain, they're going there to take pictures. So that they can show fellow pastors that have made it.
By being to State House,
my ministry is growing. Some of it is just this shenanigans of what you call misguided faith. That when you take an aeroplane, you have to take a picture and say, we are going places. We are not going places. You are just moving from point A to, it's not necessarily a blessing. It's just from point A to point B. It's just that it's longer and you are now using an aeroplane. But when you moving on in that regard, I'm saying this and I'm repeating it again.
Yes.
Kenya must make it mandatory for every school to teach the Constitution. Just like I've told you in my school, young kids of 5 years. If I had my phone, I would have shown you. Young kids of 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, they can recite not just a Bible verse, but the moral constitution of their nation. Because the rule of law is what guides our nation.
Right.
If they understand it from a young age that stealing is wrong, that doing this is wrong, that doing this is wrong, then just like the Bible, when Joshua and Caleb entered the promised land and the rest died, then you'd understand that a certain bunch of people, God has two ways of delivering people. Among the millions of ways is God. Number one, he'll negotiate with you for purposes of transformation. If you refuse, he'll allow your whole generation to die and raise a generation that he can be able to talk to. Me, I'm saying this as I finish. In my point of view, Kenya should allow a certain generation to exit the political platform. And it should be seen in 2027. Totally exit. There should be no one person telling a whole community where to go. Who are you?
Right.
There should be no one preacher telling the church where to go. Who are you?
Is this therefore then the point where Monanchi makes that happen?
Exactly.
Where Monanchi now says we take power to our hands because we've seen the mess for a very long time. We therefore take back our power and change the direction.
Exactly.
Of the country.
And that's what I'm saying. Teach the Constitution, because the first article in our Constitution is Mwananchi. All sovereign power does not belong to the governor, does not belong to the president, does not belong to... It belongs to the people. And then it keeps on going and it says, and they have the freedom to exercise it democratically or otherwise. So to understand that power does not belong to the governor. So when the governor is coming to talk, by the way, I saw Ruku. Is it called Ruku, the CS?
Yes.
What a shame. What a shame of a CS. That you can come and there's this notion they are bringing, claiming that, saying that Kiambu should be a region on its own. I have no problem, whichever region you want to be. The reason for it being a region is what I have a problem with. It is so that you can get your drainage system. Just the reason to... I don't know if I'm the one that has a problem. The reason why this should be a region is so that you can get your sewer line, so that you can get your what. People are raising this notion that if you are not in government, don't expect service delivery.
Bishop.
And I need to make that point very carefully, because that's what now people are using. The president is a president of people that elected him and the people that did not elect him.
Yep.
Even if the president is Christian, you are not a president of Christians. You are a president of Kenyans. If they are atheists in Kenya, you are their president. If they are Muslims in Kenya, you are their president. So what are we supposed to do? In as much as I've been elected by these people, in my point of view, assuming I was the person, I would start working where I was not elected. You would not need these shenanigans now, because you would have already seen you are a man of the people and you mean your word. But for a whole CS to come and say that this should break so that you can get water, so that you can get what, it's a very minute way of reasoning. And apparently that's where our leaders are taking us. You can even see opposition saying it. Ati yeye hatutatoka, ati tutakaa kwa serikali. We will sit in government. Why? So that we can get roads. You don't sit in government to get roads. It's the duty of every leader to provide social amenities for their people. It's a right for the people.
As we come to the top of the hour, Bishop, you're arguing from a point of our new constitution. This regime, many have argued, they suspended our new constitution. And that's why you hear those declarations. Because you and I know service provision is equalized by our constitution. So the other day, people were saying that the president and his team have finally gotten to where the new constitution is, the new dispensation, and that's why they're calling for a conclave, I think on the 15th of the year, of the month. 12th of the month. So, well, conversation to be continued. But I think beyond the pulpit, these conversations need to happen so that we can build a great nation for ourselves.
We are pushing the little we can, and I'm appealing. Can I say this last statement?
Yes.
I'm appealing to the body of Christ. If truly we are 74% Christian, 74% of Kenya should look like Jesus. Every blessing.
Amen.
Bishop John C.W., thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Need more to be said. Asante sana, it's 8 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.